So this is an article that I found on the internet, published by Forbes in 2014, and it's entitled "Why High Protein Diets May Be Linked to Cancer Risk." It says, despite the popularity of protein-rich diets like Atkins and Paleo, new research suggests that it may be wise to steer the opposite way, especially when it comes to cancer risk. In the new study, middle-aged people who ate protein-heavy diets had a markedly increased risk of dying from cancer compared to their low-protein counterparts. But, as always, there are caveats. Protein from animal sources, meat and dairy, was what largely produced the risk, whereas plant-derived proteins seem to be safer. And the rules seem to be different for people over the age of 65. So what are we to do? Then it says, there is a misconception that because we all eat, understanding nutrition is simple, said study author Walter Longo, director of the Longevity Institute at the University of Southern California. But the question is not whether a certain diet allows you to do well for 3 days, but can it help you survive to be 100? In the new study, the team followed over 6,300 adults over the age of 50 to see what effect high, medium and low protein diets had on longevity. A high protein diet was defined as 20% of one's daily calories coming from protein. A moderate protein diet is made up of 10 to 19% calories from protein, and a low protein diet consists of less than 10% protein. People in the study ate, on average, 16% protein, with 2/3 coming from animal sources, pretty typical of an American diet, the authors say. The findings were intriguing. People from ages 50 to 65 who ate a high protein diet were 4 times more likely to die of cancer. This is in the ballpark of smoking risk, say the authors, compared to people who ate low protein diets. Even those who ate moderate protein diets were 3 times as likely to die from cancer. And people who ate high protein diets were 75% more likely to die from any cause, including 3 times as likely to die from diabetes. The team calculated that reducing protein intake from moderate to low would reduce the risk of death by 21%. Interestingly, when the source of the protein was taken into consideration, things changed a bit. When animal-derived sources were taken out of the mix, the mortality risk was significantly reduced. In other words, plant-based protein did not seem to present the same kind of problems as protein from animal sources. The majority of Americans are eating about twice as much protein as they should, and it seems that the best change would be to lower the daily intake of all proteins, but especially animal-derived proteins, said Longo. But don't get extreme in cutting out protein. You can go from protected to malnourished very quickly. So why the protein-cancer connection? Protein intake influences the levels of the growth hormone IGF-1, which not only affects the growth of healthy cells, but can also encourage cancer cell growth. In fact, in the current study, the team found that for every 10 nanograms per milliliter increase, IGF-1, people who ate high protein diets were 9% more likely to die from cancer than those on a low protein diet. This growth hormone mechanism seems to be the reason that calorie-restricted diets have been shown to increase longevity in certain species, including possibly humans. But again, there are more caveats. IGF-1 levels decline over the years, especially after age 65, which is part of the reason that people lose muscle tone and become frailer with age. And the current study bore this out too. When the team looked at people above the age of 65, People who ate more protein had a reduced risk of death. The protein issue is therefore complex and will require some more research. But the recommendations arising from the current study, says Longo, line up with those from the World Health Organization and the Institute of Medicine. Longo tells me that generally people should stick with plant-based proteins and or stay as close as possible to 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day. This is about 54 grams of protein per day for a 150 pound person. However, going lower than that can be detrimental. So it may be wise to watch your protein intake at least in middle age, and at any age eating a plant-based diet is probably smart, as study after study shows the near indisputable health benefits of doing so. Almost everyone is going to have a cancer cell or pre-cancer cell in them at some point, says Longo. The question is, does it progress? Turns out one of the major factors in determining if it does is protein intake.